Okay, so I'm on a timer. My dinner is in the oven, and I had 45 minutes. Now I only have about 30 minutes because I was busy playing an app on my iPad, Magic Piano. So I was playing the piano. Yeah, I play piano. No, I don't. I play iPad. I play boink 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 on my iPad. Um, yeah, so I'm not going to be allowed to ramble. I only have 30 minutes. So in my last video, I was talking about the Nepal earthquake and, I'm trying to figure stuff out, trying to figure in my head, putting the pieces together and mm, trying to get at something deeper that's bothering me or upsetting me and, uh, and like I had started talking about, um, with like the all the stuff that's going on and people are more focused on that um, than like what's really going on. And I was saying that they were thinking too small. And so I want to go back and revisit that because I can see how uh, that stuff can still seem important. Like it doesn't matter if it's something bigger, like these things still need to be dealt with. Or I mean, and anyways, what I mean by too small, like we're focusing too much on like a person. Let me recap a little bit. I guess it's not everyone's going to watch all my videos. Um, so there's like a lot of events going on in the world, like uh, weather. Like the weather's gone a lot cuckoo, nature's gone cuckoo, and it's out of balance. And there's more and more focus on trying to control everything and regulate everything, especially here in the U.S. Like there are laws for every little thing. As soon as someone dies from it, suddenly there's like a huge, like we gotta stop this so other people don't die from it. Until none of us can move. We're like in straitjackets now. But I mean, it's almost like it forces us to put blame outside of us. Like, well, the reason everything's a mess because these people are doing this. Well, let's fix that, and then everything will be fine. But it's not ever fine, is it? It doesn't fix it. So then we go and look for the next culprit. Oh, well, now it's this. This is it. You're the problem. And it forces us to keep looking outside of us and pointing the fingers at other people. But what I mean by so some of that is like with the healthcare system. There's a huge burden on the healthcare system. My mom is a pharmacist, and so I mean I heard years ago like she went through. I mean people don't typically know this, or I didn't when I was a little girl. Pharmacists are not just like hired by a grocery store or a department store and like after a couple of years of working there they get promoted up to pharmacist. Pharmacists go through almost as much schooling as doctors. It's intense. Like it's a 6-year degree program, and usually with um, a pre-pharmacy degree, like from a community college or something. I mean, and then there's burnout, so there's always at least a year is taken off. So I mean, it could take about a decade to get a pharmacy degree, right? So I'm just saying, like, treat them with a little bit more respect if you don't already. They went through a lot to be there. But the thing is my mom, like, she went through all of that schooling because she wanted to be a part of helping people, of being in the medical field. And what the job ends up turning into is basically it's like they're working for the insurance company. And I know the similar thing was happening with doctors. I know I used to go to doctors back when they had a say in my care. And now it's like, what insurance do you have? What coverage do you have? From that, I'm going to be able to tell you how or what I'm going to do to treat you. That is such malarkey. It makes me so angry. So it's no longer. It's like we're all like consumers now. It's like it's not to do with why is my body out of balance or whatever. Anyways, it puts a burden on the healthcare system to where like the costs are just too much, and so we get sick. You have to go to the doctor too often, or you come down with a major illness, and you're stuck with like millions of dollars worth of doctor bills, which is dumb. So I mean, like it bankrupts people. You get sick, you go bankrupt, and you're like you have it's so absurd. So I mean, so that's why like there's all the healthcare system things that are trying to be like you have to now have to have health insurance, and so that's upsetting people because on all sides, because there's like people who do not make very much money, and they have to pay like the 100 and some, I don't know what the actual cost is, pay money for healthcare um, as a responsibility now. It's kind of like how you have to have here have to have car insurance if you have a license, and you have to. So I mean, so it's like this huge thing that's going on, and like I had brought up or was saying that like we focus on like who is causing the most burden on the healthcare system, and then we try to alleviate that or do something about that to try and fix the issue. And it frustrates me because again it starts with the pointing of the finger. So like now everyone who's overweight is like under a microscope right now. And prior to that it was smoking. Smoking was this huge campaign in the 80s here. Like holy shit, it was just there was so much campaigning against smoking. It made me so aware of smoking. I started smoking as a teenager, so your campaign sucked. But anyways, and I knew, I was like, you just wait, they're going to get this under control, or think they have it under control with the smoking. It's so taboo to smoke now. I mean, I guess maybe it was kind of, no, everyone just hides their smoking. And I don't smoke anymore, by the way, but I was like, you just wait. I was like, they're going to get this, they're going to run out of steam on this and not have anything else to pick on because the numbers drop low enough or people get sick of it or whatever. And they're going to, the next thing they're going to pick on is people being overweight. And sure enough, that is what happened. It's always like the next boogeyman or whatever. And I know that there's some things that we do have control over, and there's some things that you don't. And it is very difficult to know the difference between the two. However, when what I was saying about it being like that being too small, I'm thinking, like I can see like how hard it would be to like come like outside of that, or above it to understand what I mean by that. And I don't ever mean it as an insult. Like when I say someone is thinking too small, I do it myself. That's why I'm aware of what it's like. And the reason I know how these things are like or not like is because I experienced it or have gone through it myself, or I've uncovered it in myself. So my stuff is not, it's not about trying to belittle people or put them down or whatever. It's just sharing. It's like, oh, this is what I discovered about me in my own experiences, and I'm sharing it now too with others. So what I mean by the same with the weather, like the weather, like all of the bashing on humanity or on each other about, you know, mankind is messing up the environment, and yes, I mean that is happening. I'm not debating that that's an issue. Same with the weather and everything, but what I mean by people are focusing on the wrong thing is, or thinking too small. I keep trying to round it around, get it around to my point. Is that there's something, I say there's something bigger. So one, there's climate change happening on other planets in our solar system. Okay, so first off, we need to be aware that there is something like way bigger going on. It's not just planet Earth. Like even if mankind was like perfect little angels and took care of everyone, stuff would still be happening. Maybe not as rapidly, maybe not, I mean, who knows? We can't extract the two to have like what would be happening if man wasn't here, and if it was, what his influences are, because there's other factors in play that are not necessarily being factored into this. Okay, so however, the same thing, the same influence that is affecting the earth and affecting the climate, I don't know why I do this, that's affecting the climate change on other planets in our solar system. Those influences and effects, they are affecting our planet as well, and they are also affecting the beings on the planet. So we are being influenced by it as well, including our behavior. It's being influenced. It's not saying it's controlling us, But if you don't have your shit together, if you have not worked hard on yourself, or you are not responsible, or you are not um, doing your part, whatever that means for you, the influences of what is happening on a bigger scale is going to cause all of these other things that we're focusing on as being the issue when they're not. They are a result of the thing that's going on, the bigger thing that's going on, and not the thing causing all of the stuff going on. So, like, people's health declining, people gaining weight, people making poor choices, people's illnesses escalating at a younger age, and all of those are influences of something bigger happening. I just watched a video from another scientist, researcher, who says that 60% of the world's largest herbivores are bordering on going extinct. I mean, they're heading towards extinction. Okay. Why is and some of the things that they listed was like the resources, not enough land, not enough basically man things happen man things happening. um, but again, it's still science is flawed in that it's limited to how big or large you can think of as things being the causes. So if you only list like typical causes, like we think it could be these 10 things that are influencing this outcome, if you aren't able to think bigger than that and realize, go to those causes and stuff, you're going to miss them, and people are going to start thinking, oh, X, Y, and Z, it is humanity solely the cause of causing all this destruction. Now, the reason that I want to bring that up is because I don't know about other people, but it's really hard to hear about how it's mankind, we just fucking suck ass, we're just assholes, we're assholes. It does not make me feel good to be a human being. It does not make me want to go do something about it, or to think about it, because I'm just an asshole. I mean, it's and the people that are trying to get to listen they're not listening. And it's just pointless. It's like beating ourselves up, just like focusing on all the fat people for burdening the healthcare system. They don't need that. Like, there's other stuff going on causing this to happen, and like we don't need to focus on, like, you're the problem, it's you. Like, they don't need to have like all of the burden of the healthcare system or whatever put on their shoulders. That I'm gonna get it, exacerbates the issue. It doesn't help the issue. And also, I don't like the feeling, and I do it myself, but when I do it, I don't like the feeling I get. I feel it almost kind of darkens me. I can feel it darkening, like a sheet, like a black sheet gets thrown over me. Is this whole us versus them, me versus you mentality. And it's very strong in me. I am aware of this. But it does not feel good when talking about stuff that is upsetting or that's going on to, like when I say, well, these people are doing this and blah, 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 and that upsets me. I don't like how I feel inside afterwards when I say that. It doesn't feel, I feel like it's just kind of like just barely going like off the path, like the main path that I want to go on. It's like, oh, that's not quite right. Like I almost got it. What makes me feel really good, though, is like when I can reach a space inside of me where I can think big enough or large enough to be all-inclusive of people. With my energetic sensitivity, I can't speak. just ignore me. With my sensitivity, like, I have not come across a human being, and I've come across human beings who, I mean, their morals and stuff are questionable. There's people like on the very, very dark side of life, who, according to current human standards, would be despicable. And here's the thing, though, is that every single person I come across, no matter how despicable they may be, if everyone knew what they did or thought or whatever, would terrify other people. I have not come across a person who does not have where I don't feel a sense of humanity in them. it's just covered. I feel how it's covered up. It's covered up with fear and lies and stuff that they've come to believe about themselves or other people have pushed onto them, or and it could be you know, I mean, it could be any number of influences and things, and it could be because they're lazy, and it could be because they don't try hard enough. I mean, but it doesn't. It ultimately doesn't matter. I mean, inside of every person, there is there is. I have not found someone who I do not feel would not care if they could have their pain and burdens and um, scars and whatever removed from their psyche, from their body, from their, like, if they could kind of get reset back to like a baseline or standard of what before, or what we have before we go through life experiences, um, they're not any different than the rest of us. I I don't know why some are more buried underneath the dark than others, and you know what their part is to play in it, and how fair or unfair it is. I just know that there is a person inside of there, and it absolutely does us no good to just sit there and like point fingers. It's just constant blaming outside of ourselves. Like this stuff is broken and it's affecting me, so now I'm going to get mad at whoever's the cause of this, and so all this time, all this energy and resources and focus and attention is put on trying to get down to who we can blame for stuff not being right. And that is a waste of time, in my opinion, because we're not going to get to what it is in that method, doing it that way. It really is. I think we need to take a step back, and that's why when I was talking earlier or last time about people need to take stock of their lives and really, like, really get down to an analysis. We call it a root cause analysis. Like, really get down to like what's really important and what's really going on, and also that we don't have control over everything. This needing to control and regulate everything drives me so insane bonkers. Um, because the more we try to control stuff, the more out of balance things go. So I'm aware I'm on a timer. I know my dinner's in there cooking, so I'm trying to speed talk. Excuse me. Oh. Um, it's because so it's almost like you need to. It's like you need to snap people out of it. Like stop, 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 stop. Whatever you're going around in circles in your head over, stop. And because it's like focusing too much on the detail and being too pulled in. It's being too Virgo and even too Gemini. It's too pulled into the detail. It's like we need to pull back out, because it seems like everything is falling apart, and it seems like it's all independent. Like, oh shit, this is happening now. Oh no, that's happening, and now this is happening. And but it's all connected. It's not all independent of each other. So like the violence increasing, the wars and conflict increasing, the healthcare system being burdened, it's all a part of the same thing. Something bigger going on. Change is happening. I'm thinking. And like, even, I mean, and I don't so much anymore, because I just I don't need to. I can see where it's all going, but um, uh, I used to, in one of my previous jobs, I worked at um, a large online web portal, and so like some of the stuff that I was regularly looking at were headlines and stuff like that. So like hopping on the internet and like going through and seeing trends across the internet. I mean, I can get the mood for humanity when you do that. You can go and get a feel for the energies. Like, you don't have to be sensitive to energies to understand like what's playing out across the planet by paying attention to the internet. It's why I love doing my job of of web and digital analytics, because it's like having a pulse on humanity. I mean, when you see, and this was years ago, like if you'd see, you could see entertainment sites skyrocket. So like the stock market would crash, right? You could see like entertainment sites would skyrocket, and financial sites would just start to decline because people are like, oh fuck, I don't want to deal with this, I don't want to pay attention, you know. So they would just kind of start avoiding the financial and go to entertainment to try and like maybe, I don't know, lift their spirits or something, right? So it's like it's fascinating to me. And so why would you have to even bring that up? There was a point there and I've lost it. Um, oh yeah, so there's an increase. So from doing that, I can see over time. Like, I mean, first started doing uh, digital analytics types of things back in 2005. Actually, when I started noticing that shit was being weird and different out in nature, and I was able to see that reflected in the data as well. So some people will say like, well, some people use it as an excuse for like that stuff is not like, oh well, stuff has always been crazy. Everyone's always thought that things were out of hand during their lifetime or their whatever. And this isn't any different, but it is different. And another excuse would be, well, the media just didn't used to report it as much, and now we're just more aware because of the internet. No, I used to. I mean, I do analytics on the internet, and I mean, besides my energy feelers, my own sensitivities, um, there is a definite change in the flow of what's going on with humanity online, and it has increased steadily definitely since 2005. I mean, I would go through and there would just be so nothing newsworthy. It was so boring. It was so dull, you know. And so when something did happen, I mean, it got reported because it was like, oh, we got something. Um, and so it's nothing to do with like it's just now being reported more because of the internet. It was just such a strange argument to me. But it's used so commonly, so people will say that, and people will say, oh, you're probably right, and then they drop it, and then they don't think any more about it. I mean, in their mind, that's explained it away, and so it must be true, and on they go. Um, but I mean, I can see the increases in the last 10 years of stuff, of the flow of stuff going on in humanity, like the increase of like something new would happen, like say the birds that died, that all dropped dead that 1 year, um, and it's like a big deal in that moment, and then it starts happening, it starts breaking out all over the place. I mean, that first 3 months of 2011, I saw so many. Well, I went and researched it, but I saw so many sites where people were doing compilations, like collecting all of the information of how many reports there were coming in about like animals washing ashore dead and birds dropping out of the sky, and it was unbelievable. It was frightening to see the. I mean, it was all kinds of animals. It was not just fish. It was not just birds. It wasn't just I mean, it was just everywhere. And all over the world is too, like where people are trying to pinpoint it and triangulate it and seeing like where's the source coming from for this to be happening, you know. And there's theories all over the place from like the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico to, I mean, just all kinds of things. Um, and then what happens is like that stuff doesn't stop, and it hasn't stopped. I still see to this day like whales and dolphins are washing up ashore dead, and it breaks my heart. I love those things. Um, but what happens is they don't stop happening, but it's become the norm, and so it starts slipping away, and it no longer shows up in the headlines. So now people think, oh well, it must not be a big deal anymore. No, it's still a thing. It's just it's just background noise now, though, because it's become such a big, loud thing. Same thing with natural events. I remember, like, if there was an earthquake that was like a 6, maybe a little higher than a 6 or whatever, anywhere on the planet, it was like breaking news, and it was just like, oh my god, I hope everyone's okay. Like it's like the world would pause at least for a second, and then like contemplate things like, oh my gosh, like, oh, if we were an earthquake, oh, if we're, it was topic of conversation with friends, with family. It was just, it was a big deal. There was a 2-year period from 2009 to 2011. I'm not sure. There was a 2-year period where I monitored regularly. I had links and websites to all kinds of things, to the to different earthquake sites, and I started learning how to read the earthquake like the sites. God. Vocabulary's gone out of my head. The things that show the earthquakes, and not very well, but I mean, I was trying to. But then I had multiple sites that had like maybe live cams to volcanoes. I was trying to do some sort of analysis, but it was just not. It's something about doing analysis at work. It's like I can only do so much of it outside of work. But I monitored because I wanted to see, and also like the geomagnetic field of the Earth and the solar flares in the sun. So I mean, like, I had all these things that on a regular day I would monitor. I'd go through and I would check things, and I would just try to get a baseline, try to get an understanding of like what it looks like when it's normal, to try and see if I see for myself an increase over time. And then I stopped because it's like I didn't need it anymore. I'm like, God, something's happening. I don't need to monitor to try and prove it to myself whether something is or isn't happening. It's just I wanted to do other stuff with my time. But yeah. So when I say that, and I know it's my time's almost up. When I say that we're thinking too small or we're not thinking large enough about what is going on, I mean it's something that's so big that it's something so on a large scale. There was also a period of time where crops were failing, whole crops were failing, like in Mexico and everything. And I was just, and it was, there was this one year I was just like, oh my God, there's not going to be any fruits or vegetables in the stores. Like they're not going to be able to feed all of us. And then this GMO stuff started. After that happened, the GMO suddenly became a bigger deal in the news and stuff. And people, they're like, no GMOs, and I totally agree. Oh my God, no. Genetic modification of food, no. Nature says no. And all I need to know about that scientifically is when they have something a food that's genetically modified with next to food that's not genetically modified, and they have like rats or something to go hungry rats who can eat either one of them or both or whatever. They'll eat everything on the natural one, but anything with GMO, genetically modified, they will not eat. They will starve to death before they eat it. That's all I need to know scientifically to know that shit is not good for us. It's not. It's synthetic does not replace real life. There are things that cannot be replaced. We might be able to recreate something scientifically and logically and rationally, but if it does not have like the creative energetic spark, there's this thing called life, like the spark of life. When a woman makes a baby and gives it a spark of life and it comes out and it's alive, you can't replicate that in a science lab. You can't. That's the thing bigger than us that's going on, in that moves through all of Earth and in everything that's alive and grows. You start fucking with that with synthetic things like chemicals and chemistry and trying to control nature because, well, we don't like what's happening. The Earth is kind of getting moody. We're gonna die. We don't want that. We're gonna control it. You're gonna make it worse, and it's definitely what's happening. So as far as I'm concerned, the part that humanity is playing that is a no-go is they're trying to control and stop all of this stuff from happening in synthetic and unnatural ways. Um, Makes me angry. Like there's something deep inside of me that wants to, like a fear, it wants to rage. Like how dare you? And I'm trying to keep it under control. Oh, see, I'm trying to control that too. Oh no. Okay. I mean, I could keep going on, and I mean, I definitely have more points about it and stuff, but I know my food is about done. I am hungry, and I also do want to be mindful of how long I'm talking. So that's all for tonight, and thank you, everybody. I got so many awesome comments in my last video that I was crying for a while, but good tears. So thank you guys, and I will talk to you again. Good night.